Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the Model Railway News for July 2025. I hope you're all having an absolutely lovely summer, and you know, we might all be outside enjoying the sunshine, but indoors the world of model trains is still busy working away, and there's loads to talk about this month. This month has been a month of major reveals. Perhaps not quite as many new products announced this month, although there have been a few. We'll talk about those. Mainly though, this has been a month of prototypes revealed for the first times and paint jobs revealed for the first time. Loads of these to get through today, and we're going to start with what I think is the one I'm most excited about, and that is the EFE Rail LSWR Class T3. This is how it looked when we last saw it, just a simple engineering prototype. And here is the progress. This is the model with all of the decoration applied. And this is an absolutely beautiful locomotive. So this is it in the LSWR green. How gorgeous does that look? This is a different variation on that LSWR green, a little bit more intricate, this one. Obviously, you can only see the paint job from a distance here, but from a distance, my goodness, does this look impressive. And particularly for me, the metalwork looks great. The painting on the whistles looks particularly shiny, metallic, and realistic. Can't wait to see more of these. Here's a different livery. This is a later livery, the southern green, of course. Looks very different, but equally impressive. Very rich colour, this. And it's competitively priced as well, which is great to see from EFE Rail. The RRP is less than £200 at £199.95, and at the retailers this is very competitively priced at £169.95. I cannot wait to get this one in my hands. Obviously, it's not been announced that long, and already the project is clearly at an advanced stage. Apparently, it's going to release in Q4 2025, so at the moment, it is still on for before Christmas. That is fantastic. Next up then, there's a lot of news from Rails of Sheffield regarding lots of their exclusive projects. First of all, they've revealed the livery artwork for their upcoming LBSC K-Class, which is being made for them by Sonic Models. And it's worth going through these liveries now because I believe they have changed since the last time these were talked about. So they are doing number 341 in the LBSC Black, not a livery that's seen very often, but it does look pretty fancy actually, doesn't it? Then there's 342 in the LBSC Umber, again quite rarely seen in 00 I suppose, but less so than the black. Then there's number 343 in the Uri Green, number 2346 in the Mansell Dark Olive Green, 3350 in the Malachite Green, and then this one, 3252 in the Bullied Wartime Black. Easy to overlook that livery, but I bet it will be a smart one nevertheless. And then there's a range of BR black liveries, some plain, some lined. Missing though is number 32353, which was significant because it was the final member of the class to be scrapped. All of the others were scrapped, and then when this one was scrapped, they were all gone. I understand that this model was originally announced, but apparently now it's been removed for whatever reason, and there's a surprising number of disappointed comments about that. So I don't exactly know what's happened there, but yeah, according to the latest lineup, that loco is no longer available. The other bit of massive news from Rails of Sheffield is that the Caledonian Railway 812 class is coming back. This comes after Rapido have announced their version of another popular Caledonian loco, that's the single-wheeler, the 123. Well, there's obviously a massive appetite for Caledonian stuff because by popular demand, the 812 is also coming back. This time just in two variations of Caledonian blue though. There's the light blue and also the dark blue. For the moment, the blacks are not coming back. I assume that's because the blues are the more popular ones. From memory, I think it took the black ones a little bit longer to sell out the first time around, so I guess it makes sense that they're just going with the more popular ones. Price-wise, they are more expensive than they used to be, £214.95, up from £199.95 the first time round in 2022. So I think it is a real pity that they couldn't have maintained the original price for this loco, especially as they've not had to develop a new model this time around. Presumably all of the toolings are still good to be used for this new version. But if we adjust for inflation, that £199 in 2022 should cost about £230 now in 2025. So adjusted for inflation, technically the price has gone down by about £15, which is better than a kick in the teeth, I suppose. Obviously though, the models themselves do look absolutely fantastic, and I've got one so I can speak to that. They are beautiful models. I do remember though thinking that £200 back in 2022 was a crazy amount of money for a loco like this. And I guess the sad thing is that now in 2025, £215 for a loco like this kind of feels quite normal, which is a sign of the times, I suppose. Up next then, there is loads of news from Rapido, and this is Rapido, so that should not come as a surprise. The first bit of news comes in the form of EFE the engine, and they have revealed decorated samples for the first time. In a very interesting YouTube video, they showcased the engine first of all, which looks amazing painted up like this. And I think seeing the model like this shows just what an amazingly intricate model this is. Obviously, it's quite easy to assume that this is going to be a toy grade, train set grade locomotive, but it's actually not. The full RRP for just the basic pack is £199.95, so it's definitely not a toy. And looking at this sample, it's clear to see the complexity here. This sample was a sound fitted sample as well, so I'll give you just a second to hear the noise. So yeah, just like in the show, all of the sounds were made vocally, and the model captures that, which is fantastic. Anyway, later on in the video, the train meets some wagons. These are the open wagons on display too. Ridiculously cute wagons these, which are also beautifully painted. And then later on still, we see more of the rolling stock waiting at the cardboard station, which of course the packs come with as well. And I also love the load of crates on that open purple wagon there too. So very, very exciting. It all feels a lot more real now that we've seen the paint jobs on this EFE the engine range, and hopefully it won't be too long before these come out. So if you're interested in any of the stuff in this video, I do have affiliate links down in the description. Next up, Rapido revealed another decorated sample, this time for the Manning Wardle L-Class. So it feels like these locos were announced ages ago, and it also feels like we've not really heard much about these for quite some time now. So suddenly seeing them decorated like this was quite a surprise. It's really awakened my interest in these again. So here is Sir Berkeley in the green, and then we've got Matthew Murray in the lined blue. And seeing these two locos next to each other just illustrates how different the enclosed and exposed cab variants are. I mean, they're lumped together in the same project, aren't they? But actually seeing them, they look almost entirely different, especially with the different paint jobs, of course. So Sir Berkeley is the standout to me. I mean, there are precious few locos in 00 scale with a cab that looks like that. Can't wait for these to come out. I've already briefly mentioned the Rapido Caledonian 123, but there is indeed an update on this model as well. It is the first engineering prototype of this loco. We've seen a 3D print of this loco before, but really that doesn't tell you anything. It didn't come from the factory, I don't think. It's just made from the basic CADs. This, on the other hand, actually came from the tooling, suggesting that the at least initial tooling is now complete. And there's lots of lovely details on this, as you can see. I think the standout feature is the Scottish thistles, which have been moulded into the buffers. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that done in 00 before. That looks fantastic, and it does look like a pretty weird engine, I would say, in the unpainted black. And that is because it is a weird engine. But if the original Triang single-wheeler taught us anything, it's that with paint, this loco looks a bit less weird. I mean, that weird boxy splasher that it's got looks a lot more normal somehow with the lining on it. So next up, hopefully painted samples. I mean, how good does this Triang one look? An up-to-date, new tool, super detailed version of this model is going to be unbelievable. I cannot wait to see that thing painted up. Next up then, from Rapido, we've got yet another new announcement. This time it is the RCH Salt vans, and there's a huge range of these announced with the usual selection of different liveries. There's also multiple detail variations such as different axle boxes, buffers and brakes, etc., and no less than 15 different liveries to choose from. And these include the classic Saxa Salt livery. I think for decades and decades this Saxa Salt livery has been seen on so many different models. It's lovely to see Rapido carrying on that tradition. Price-wise, these come in at £32.95 RRP, that's your kind of typical Rapido price, with a retailer price of £27.95. So if you're interested in popping in a pre-order for one of these, I've popped an affiliate link down in the description for you. The next bit of news then comes from Accurascale, and actually I meant to cover this last month, but for whatever reason I didn't do it. It's a progress report on their pannier tank. Now, lots of people have been chomping at the bit with this model. I believe it was supposed to have been here by now, but obviously it isn't. There have been delays, but it turns out there are good reasons for these delays. So Accurascale posted these photos showing the chassis as designed by the factory, and I think the word shambolic springs to mind. So we've got this rat's nest of wires which are extremely untidy. We've got capacitors hanging loose on loose wires. They've used huge pieces of black tape in a desperate attempt to do some wire management, which ultimately failed because it still looks a mess. And Accurascale said this simply would not do. And I have to say I agree with them. If I'd opened up an expensive loco and seen that, I would not have been happy or impressed. So they fed back to their factory, who did make some changes, and here is the updated chassis, and my goodness, what a good choice this was. So there's very few wires visible here, and those that are visible are delightfully managed, nice and neat. The capacitors are now soldered neatly onto the circuit board with no wires at all, and there's pogo pins allowing you to remove the body without any wires being in the way at all. The DCC socket looks nice and neat now as well, accessible through the front of the smoke box so that you don't even have to remove the body if you don't want to. So I wanted to mention this not just because it's interesting, which of course it is, I love seeing stuff like this, but also because it isn't necessary for messes like this to reach customers. If a manufacturer wants to, they can feed back to the factory, they can request changes, and ultimately they can deliver a model that is nicely designed, neat and tidy. You know, these are not cheap toys. If this was a 30 quid model, I'd say fair enough. No model locomotive is cheap these days. There's no excuse for messes, and it's really good to see that Accurascale recognises this. So really looking forward to seeing the pannier tank now, and I think the delay, while frustrating of course, was worth it. It's clear to see why these models have been delayed. They've also announced some news on the Class 50s. First of all, they've addressed some of the criticisms of the locomotive. So in terms of parts dropping off the loco, which I don't think happened to mine, but a lot of people did report that, they've said they're going to improve their drop testing procedures for future models, and they're also going to be making packaging improvements for batch 2 of the Class 50s to make sure this doesn't happen again. As for those nasty unpainted sockets, which were just left plastic coloured, they've admitted that this was actually a mistake. So during the sampling phase, the factory did paint these parts as they were supposed to, but during the final production run, they didn't. They were just left plastic coloured, which was not as specified by Accurascale. So they have confirmed that this was a mistake and that for future batches of Class 50s, this will be fixed, which is good to hear. A future batch of Class 50s, I hear you ask? Yes, they've announced a second run of these with a small number of new liveries made available. This includes the BR Blue Arc Royal and Ramillies, two beautiful BR Blue locos there. They've announced Ajax in BR Large Logo Blue and Renown in Network Southeast livery. Plus there's a couple of Accurascale exclusives in GBRF livery, which do look very fancy. They've also maintained the price of $189.99, which is good to see. At least not all prices have had to go up then. Again, if you're interested, affiliate links down in the description. The next bit of news is actually a new announcement, and it's another one from Clark Railworks, this time in the form of the 00 Prestwin wagons. Now, in real life, these wagons were an improvement on the Pressflow wagon, allowing lime, sand and soda ash to be easily transported under the pressure of compressed air. These wagons, though, had dual silos, which allowed them to be unloaded more quickly. The new model is of the 12-foot wheelbase version of these wagons, and it's going to feature a die-cast chassis, wheels running in separate bearings, which is good to see, metal steps and handrails, plus all of the complex pipework on the top will be fully modelled. These wagons are only available in packs of 3 though, and the cost of a pack of 3 is £120. So not only is the price per wagon still very expensive at £40 each, but you've also got to buy a minimum of 3 in order to get any of these wagons at all, which I think is a shame. You know, usually if you're buying more wagons, you'd expect to get a bit of a discount, but sadly not in this case. Nor does there seem to be any discount for buying in bulk, which again is a shame. So that is one side of it. I do think £40 is an awful lot for a single wagon, and many do prefer simpler rolling stock, which maybe doesn't have quite as many details and features, but is a little bit more affordable. After all, these wagons ran in rakes apparently, and to put a rake of 12 of these wagons together is going to set you back the best part of £500. That's a lot. On the other hand though, it is clear that these models are very high spec, as usual from Ellis Clark. They do look absolutely fantastic. Again, they've got die-cast chassis, loads of detail, look how complex these are. So as much as the prices do seem extremely high, it is understandable to a certain extent. And looking at these things, I actually wonder how many separate parts each wagon has on it. Probably quite a lot. Next up then, I've got a bit of news from Sam's Trains. So obviously there's been a lot of Scottish locomotives announced and released recently, and last week I released some Scottish rolling stock to go with them in the form of these early Jones Highland Railway open wagons. I did quite a few different versions, including a physically weathered version, meaning that it has both painted and physical weathering effects, which I think is pretty cool, even if I say so myself. So I just want to say a massive thank you to anybody who's supported the channel and bought some of these wagons. At the time of filming this, I don't know if they've all sold out or not yet, but if you want to see what's there, I'll pop a link down in the description. If they have all sold out, be sure to follow me on Etsy, and then you'll get advance notice when something new is posted on there. Also, I've been doing a bit of a push to make more exclusive members only content recently. At the moment, I've been managing one extra bonus video a week, so if you'd like to get access to this content, do consider becoming a member of the channel. So far, I've got more locomotion gameplay. I did an update talking about general life and the channel, etc. I did a sneak preview about what I'll be reviewing next. That has a few spoilers in it, actually, and some of the crazy stories from my past product launches. So again, if you want to support the channel and get a bit of bonus content, you'll also get a few extra perks, such as early access to all of my videos. Do consider becoming a member, and I've got 3 different tiers to choose from, so hopefully there's something for everybody here. Finally then, let's talk a bit about Hornby. So on the 23rd of June on social media, they teased that a new announcement was going to be made. And I'm ashamed to say I got quite excited by this announcement, which is daft because usually when a new announcement is coming, quite often it's just a new version of an existing model, which is great, but not that exciting. And I fell into the trap. I was there ready for the announcement, and yeah, it was just the return of their Merchant Navy class from 2017. Channel packet in this beautiful southern green. At least that's what it seemed to start with, but actually this model has been modified a little bit since the last time we saw it. Now it's coming at us with sound fitted and for the first time a steam generator, which means they must have made some modifications to this model because it was never designed to have a steam generator. Now with these extra features, it is of course quite pricey. The RRP is £364.99 or £328.49 at the retailers. Now, I've seen lots of comments online from people accusing Hornby of duplicating the announcement by Rails of Sheffield and Dapol with their Bullied Pacific, which was also very high spec. And I kind of get it, you know, it's a suspiciously similar locomotive, isn't it? And the timing is certainly odd that we're now seeing yet another Bullied Pacific with high spec features such as sound and smoke and such announced so soon afterwards. Maybe it was in response to that. But I should point out this is not the same class. The Merchant Navy is not the same class as the Battle of Britain and the West Country class. The Merchant was a larger locomotive and it was a different design. So maybe this announcement by Hornby was deliberately made to cash in on this new trend of high-spec Bullied Pacific locomotives, but it is not a duplication. It's also worth noting that this loco from Hornby isn't quite as high-spec as the Dapol version. As far as I can tell, this is not going to have a metal body like the Dapol model will, and it doesn't have lighting on board as far as I know. That means no lamps and no firebox flicker. And given that it doesn't have quite as many features, I do think these prices are quite surprising. I mean, even at the retailers, it's only £70 cheaper than the Dapol model. For the extra £70, you get an all-metal model in the Dapol model, not plastic, and you also get the lighting, whether that be the lamps or the firebox flicker. So that's crazy actually. Hornby have done Rails and Dapol a favour here, because previously £400 seemed like an awful lot of money for this locomotive. Now though, for just £70 more, it actually sounds like a good deal. Now, that's assuming that the Hornby model is good value at £320 something, which I'm not convinced that it is, but nevertheless, it's an interesting situation, and I will be interested to see the Hornby Merchant Navy with sound and with smoke. An interesting development. Anyway, that is just about it for the model railway news this month. Hopefully you enjoyed that. What a broad range of announcements and updates we've seen this month. Even in the height of summer, this hobby does not die. Amazing. Anyway, I've tried to cover everything of importance. If I have missed something out and you thought it deserved a mention, do comment down below and I will consider it for next month. For now though, enjoy the rest of the summer and I'll see you again very, very soon with some more videos. Oh, the voice is going there. Goodness me. Better sign off. Cheers folks. You take care.